I mean, that sounds kind of obvious. But then people will say, well, a life jacket won't save you if the water's cold. And they come up with all these counter arguments, for almost like reasons why you shouldn't wear one.
Can't find the article.
That it just comes down, I'm admin for another group at the moment, and we have a policy where, yeah, photos have to show you wearing a PFD, and generally people are compliant. You'll get one or two who say it's US Coast Guard regulations that we just have to have one on us, like on the craft, and we'll argue.
Yeah.
But
I think, there are people that will say you don't need to have a life jacket on all the time, and there are arguments there that people will make, and condition risk assessments and things like that. But I think just to come back onto, rather than going on a life jacket rant, let's we'll bring it back onto topic about social media, which is it is all about a lot of it is about the conversation that you're being sold, and I believe very much in role modeling.
Yeah.
So then, if you're role modeling, which is where this conversation kind of started, is if you're role modeling someone experienced, someone that you look up to, someone you respect, not wearing a PFD, you're gonna emulate that
Potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
That comes back to responsibility.
Skiing. I'm a big skier. When I was young, you didn't ski with a helmet on.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Now I wouldn't go skiing without one.
Yeah, no, I learned to ski with it. Yeah, there's no such thing. It was like we used to cycle without helmets.
Well, exactly. And all of these things. And as the information gap has shortened, the information gap is because information is so much more accessible. We can, and then it's exactly the same in cycling, isn't it? As just thinking about cycling as PFD. Oh well, AI just has to be on my boat. Well, people say, oh, but it's proven that if you're not wearing a helmet, that cars will pass you wider.
Yeah, and you'll cycle less defensively. Apparently.
However, if we use a very good local paddler as our example, you may hit a deer.
Yeah, and
a road user may not be involved at all. And you can have an accident. So, I think there's that. That people like to be defensive and come up with arguments to defend their actions, rather than necessarily just taking stock of their actions.
Yeah, I like the thing you were saying about the narrative,
the narrative.
Wow,
I'm all about the narrative at the moment. I told you it's been percolating for a while. I told you this social media conversation has been sitting in the back of my mind for a while, and I've just been letting it kind of develop. And I'm very motivated about certain elements of philosophy at the moment.
Yes, you are.
And about the world that we live in with social media and the culture, especially the youth. Because Mike's obviously have a 3-year-old. Your boys are a bit older, but you'll be still in the same sort of process. The way social media affects them in general versus the way it affected me as a child. I as a general rule, this is going to sound very flippant, don't really care about what other people think of me. I mean, I do, of course, but not, not to a massively impactful level. I mean, I do, but I also walk about with bright orange trousers on.
Yeah.
And blue tops. And at the moment, I've got a lot of blue trousers. I'm sorry for putting my feet in the video again. Nicola's going to get me in trouble because of my feet.
Oh, the feet. At least there are no holes.
There are no holes. I put these socks on specifically because they didn't have holes in for you.
Thank you.
Because you seem to be taking this podcast down another line. And that's another conversation that we can have. But this, I've started wearing a lot of blue trousers, so now I need to get some orange t-shirts. When I was shopping yesterday with Russell, I was trying to find some orange jumpers because I don't own enough orange to counteract the blue. I wear loud clothes. It doesn't bother me. I walk into somewhere, that's who I am. I don't spend every micro moment thinking about what people think of me.
Yeah.
I still behave in a way that I think considered to be respectful. I'm not an arse. I can be. But, I think there is that then outwardly, there is that with social media, there is this, well, what are people seeing of me, and therefore what people thinking of me?
Who was it who said, what you think of me is none of my business?
I can't remember,
It's a
but I
good
like
one.
it.
Yeah.
What was the one that I said to you that was this time last year? I said something to you about those that those that are of low intelligence gossip about other people, and those that are of high or something like that, wasn't it? Something about gossip, and about gossip being those of. It was something about gossip. I can't remember what it was. It was about how people who gossip about other people, who people are more concerned about other people's lives than their own. It was that kind of commentary about gossip and the gossip culture. Gossip culture is something I'm having a big conversation about at work at the moment, but that's a separate conversation, not for the podcast. But I think, you know, I think there is this outwardly portrayed viewpoint on how we are perceived, the narrative that we put out of ourselves.
And we might put some. Go on.
No, I was just going to say how that affects, when I think about Ezra's development. I don't want him growing up worrying about what other people think of him or me. What's he going to think of my loud trousers at school?
He'll have his matching trousers.
Well, he does at the moment. I'll tell you that. And how that is portrayed, and how accessible that information is. At school, it wasn't massively accessible because it was just playground chat. Whereas now, playground chat is however many hundred of people on the internet. That's where I was going. Sorry, I was maybe getting a bit big for the podcast.
No, it's true though. Silence.
What were you going to say? You were going to say something?
It's gone. It's gone. Probably just something along the lines of there are definitely people who care about what other people say on social media, and that it's I think it's sad. It's not sad that they care, but it's sad that they can turn that inwards on themselves. And I actually, it's interesting because I made myself a little. I was out on the sea on the 1st of February, and it was a gorgeous, gorgeous day. And I sat and made a little video, and I haven't shared it, but it was basically about how we compare our lives to other people's. And like if you're on social media, don't do it.
How come I've not seen this? I want to see this video.
I haven't shared it. I haven't because it's quite personal as well. So I was like, no, I don't really want to put it on Facebook, so I haven't. But it's just a moment of, it's very easy to see all these perfect home life videos, perfect relationship videos, and perfect everything, on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and come up short. But actually,
and that's the comparison, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how often do we compare our lives to those lives of those others on social media? There you go. And that
I'd be oh dear. I think I'd be standing at the top of the cliffs at Winterfield right now if I actually took all that on board.
But it is, isn't it? It's especially today of all days.
Oh God. Celebrating singleness.
I went out. I'm not even single, and I went out for pre-Valentine's Day lunch with Russell. Nikki and I don't really do Valentine's Day. We've never done Valentine's Day. We just never have, because it's a commercialization event. Oh, there's my philosophy. Let's not even get into that. Let's spin on from that one becally. Moving on.
Yes.
The narrative of social media. But you're right, and then people compare, and then it can become very easy to compare our lives to other people's, and you have to live in your moment. And that's my worry about the youth. If I'm going to talk about the youth of today, because I'm in our generation gap. I'm 36. There is now a clear generation behind me, really clear generation, who are growing up in a world where they do compare themselves to other people, because they compare themselves to what they see on social media, and they don't look at themselves. They don't sit there and self-reflect and introspect. they always, but Jamie's got a new car, or I've got a new car, so I can't talk. But Dorothy's got this, and I don't think any youth person's called Dorothy. But you know what I mean? And that's why when we think about paddling, that's why I come on to, do you think, that's why I said, do you think paddling is unsafe? We think about always going for the next big thing, the next big waterfall run, the next run down the Congo, which is probably one of the most dangerous rivers in the world. And people have always pushed adventure in that way, but is it more accessible? And then I've got another comment there, but it's probably not for this podcast.
Oh, you have to know.
Well, I have to know, but I'll maybe cut this out. But have you heard about this woman, this porn woman who slept with 1,000 men?
No.
Well, there you go. So there's this porn actress, this feud between two online adult content creators.
Adult content, call it what it is.
Who she's like, I'm going to sleep with 1,000 men to break the record. Then this woman slept with 1,000 men to break the record in 24 hours.
24 hours?
24 hours. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Said that.
Oh, sorry. Yes, 1,000 men in 24 hours. Like a dib dab.
You have to rearrange my facial features.
Sorry,
but this is probably a good one to either cut out or to listen on the podcast rather than watch the YouTube video.
Did that actually happen? Did it not happen? It doesn't matter whether it happened or not. No, but there's no proof. Although you'd think if you were going to do it, you'd film it if you were an online content creator, because that's going to get you a lot of money and views. Let's just skip on from that comment. Whether it happened or not, it doesn't matter. She said it happened. Woof, there is the next, there is a milestone that's been created that would never have existed if we didn't have social media.
How did she make it into the Guinness Book of World Records?
Oh, I don't know if she's in the Guinness Book of Records. I don't know a huge amount about this. It was in the news the other day.
News? What news? It wasn't on the BBC.
It was not on the BBC. Actually, I think it might have been on the BBC.
Yeah,
right, it was on Apple. So I pay for Apple News.
Oh.
And it came up in my Apple News feed.
But right. Going back to
algorithms. Going back to
algorithms. I'm fed up with algorithms. They're just like
this podcast has become massive.
Algorithms see my content and go, right, let's put that one in the cupboard. Nobody sees it.
The narrative that is being told by social media. The blanket's there to absorb sound, so it's okay.
Right, no, but you see, the other thing is, though, you can be unsafe without being on social media, right? I was out paddling one day and quite a strong offshore breeze coming around the back of the harbour. There's this family in an inflatable, and it's just blowing offshore. And I think it was April, but it was sunny, right? So it's that kind of
the worst time.
So I'm presuming mum, dad, child, or whatever, stepdad, whatever,
whatever the family group relationship was.
Exactly.
That you're going to say was mum, dad, child to upset all the people that aren't a mum, dad, child relationship on the internet because of your name.
Oh, you know what I'm going to say? It's 2 words.
Carry on. Shut up. I don't think it was those two that you were choosing.
It was not those two.
Carry on.
So the child's probably 6-ish. She's got a buoyancy aid on.
Oh.
Mum and dad don't. So, I was just merrily paddling. I thought, I'm just going to hang on here for a while. I'm just going to wait till they go back into the harbour because I just didn't think it was safe.
It's a strong offshore wind.
So you can be unsafe without going anywhere near the internet.
True. You can.
But that's not what this conversation's about.
That's not what this conversation's about. That's not the narrative we're trying to tell here, Nicola.
Very sorry.
You've just messed up our narrative.
It's just a different angle.
It is just a different angle. No, you're absolutely right. And you can be unsafe without the internet. But does the internet perpetuate? And I'm not talking about that's going to happen whether the internet exists or not. I'm wondering about the bigger things,
right.
like the adult entertainment star.
No, let's not go there.
I'm probably not going to cut it. I might keep it in. Who that's that kind of that kind of need to get to the next milestone. The need to, but then why did Shackleton tried to sail to the Antarctic, to cross the North Pole, to get to the, do you know? Ernest Shackleton.
That's slightly different
Is it?
to sleeping with 1,000 men in 24 hours. Your face, you're trying.
Why? Okay. Why did she sleep with 1,000 men in 24 hours? There are two reasons. One is money, because it's going to make money on OnlyFans or whatever platform that person uses. Or it's to be famous for achieving a goal that no one else has achieved. Why did Shackleton try and cross the Arctic?
That's about exploration as well. I mean, yeah, there is obviously the whole goal thing, but why do people keep going to the North Pole? Why do people keep going to the South Pole?
So there is exploration in there as well.
I would think, yeah.
Was it done for fame? Was there any fame
I didn't
element
know
to
him
that?
personally.
No, that's why, unfortunately.
So, yeah.
But any big goal like that, you know, how much of it is driven by, I don't think anyone's caught a wolfish on a kayak. We talked about this in the last podcast.
Yeah.
I want to be the first person to catch a wolfish on a kayak. That's very different from me sleeping with 100 men. But
oh dear.
Social media is, do you know, how much of that is, you know, there's you know, I don't know. Like, I just think this conversation has gone, this is going to be at least 2 podcasts. It might even be 3 podcasts at this point.
Yeah. What else can we bring into it that's not kayak related?
Oh yeah, sorry. We kind of gone back to kayaking.
Please. I think there are negatives. There are definitely negatives, but there are also positives.
There are.
You know, it connects people. You might get someone nice who answers your question. It's nice to be supportive. You know,
I think we've taken a very negative viewpoint on it today, and I don't think that's necessarily fair. You know, we've talked a lot about the bad stuff, but there is a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of positive stuff that comes out of it. It's great to see other people. I love watching Rocket on YouTube. Rocket's a kayak fisherman. He's got a stealth kayak, the kayak I want to go buy. He catches fish. He goes camping. I'd love to have his life. But then what parts of his life am I not seeing? Recently, he talked about how he won 70,000 Australian dollars in a film festival competition. He submitted a film and he won. I voted for his film. I'm a big fan of his. The film was good. Maybe I put it at the top. I know, actually, this film that he did really was the top. The last time he did a film, I put it as my number 1, when realistically it was probably my number 2 or 3. But I did it as number 1 because I like him. But this time, it definitely was number 1. I really thought his film this time around was really, really good. And he put a social media post about how great it was that he won it, and he needs to fix his bathroom. His bathroom is leaking. He's got mold in his bathroom.
Aww.
Fantastic. He can buy a new bathroom. What parts are we not seeing of his life that, yeah, I'm seeing all of that, but, you know, he's got a new puppy. He's definitely not sleeping. He's got 2 kids.
Yeah.
You know, his 2 kids popped at one of his boats. An instant with an inflatable boat and his children.
Oh.
Which he did share on social media. But he could have chosen not to share that. And then you're watching his videos and you're thinking, look at this amazing life where he gets to go paddle around. But he's getting up at half 5, half 4 in the morning to paddle before work.
Yeah.
Do you know? He's now full-time, but before he became a full-time fisherman, you know? So, YouTube creator, he's not a full-time fisherman, he's a YouTube creator. But do you know what I mean? So I suppose we've been very negative, but there are a lot of positives, and we all follow people that we like. You know, Gordon Buchanan.
Yeah.
You know, interesting. We have been quite negative, so I apologize to those that are listening.
Oh, I don't think you need to apologise, but there are positives, and I had that's what was written on my little list of paper. That's what I had written on a bit of paper. My list of the good things, because when I approached this, when I was thinking about it, I was really negative actually, because I think it's easy to see the bad side of social media, but there are good aspects.
There are, definitely. It's all about the narrative.
Apparently so.
Wait till I write my book.
Oh, what's your book about?
The narrative of social media.
Actually?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. This camera's about to run out of battery, and I'm hyper aware of it. But yeah. Oh, I'm 100%. I'm working on something. I don't know what I'm working on yet, but Nikki talked to me about it the other day. I've been so passionate about social media, and not just social media, but the narrative of politics, what's going on in America, Steve Bannon's opinion on flooding the zone, just the narrative of the world and the way that we perceive the world and the way it's changed.
See, I tend to retreat from that and just go and sit half a mile out on the North Sea and ignore it all.
Yeah, whereas I love thinking about it. I love thinking about how this whole commentary about the narrative of social media and what people see and the lives that people openly portray.
Yeah.
I find that fascinating. We were I'm aware that your camera's going to die. It's about to die in 3 seconds. And I promise I have to stand up to stop it and start it again. Movie stopped. There you go. Start it again. I think Nikki and I were out walking I met Nikki at the swimming pool, outside the swimming pool after a swimming lesson a couple of Wednesdays ago. And Ezra was having a bit of a tantrum because he was hungry and tired. And he didn't want to get into his buggy because he wanted to eat a sausage roll. But we couldn't go and get a sausage roll unless he got into his buggy because he was so tired he wouldn't walk. So he was having this sort of meltdown. And at the same time as he was kicking over the pram, well, not kicking over the pram, the buggy that we use is missing a wheel. I don't want to portray a negative narrative. He wasn't kicking over a pram because he was having a tantrum. The buggy we have is missing a wheel. So he was trying to stop putting him in the buggy. And as he stopped, he resisted, as children do. They become immobile, rigid
boards.
Yeah,
things.
Exactly. He kicked the pram, he knocked the pram, but because the wheel was missing, the pram fell over, the dog got off, the dog went to try and bark at another dog that was on a lead. It was clearly afraid of other dogs. So the dog's then flying loose. The swimming stuff's all over the park because it's all fallen out. And someone came past and I was like, how are you? And they were like, I'm fine. How are you? And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm just busy. We've got to sort all this out, but it's all good. It's chaos. Chaos. Absolutely. It was the chaos theory personified. One little thing had this massive knock-on of negative effects that were all sort of semi-related. That was the snapshot that person saw of my life. I was chatting to her husband, and he was like, she described it as carnage. I was like, well, it was carnage, but it was only carnage for a couple of minutes. But how easily can that story develop, on social media? Like, if that went onto social media, obviously it didn't. But if it did, the narrative that's what I find fascinating. It's how quickly that narrative can become something else. And if you live in an online bullying world, look at the kids today, if you're really worried about that sort of thing, that could be a huge problem. For me, it was nothing. And when Guy mentioned it at the lifeboat training, don't bother me at all. Chris said to me, and I was like, yeah, it was carnage. It's not an issue. I'm not worried that people are gossiping about me. It was a fact. It was mental, and you have to accept it for that. But it was a snapshot, and I think that's what I find really interesting. So that's Simulacra and Simulation, that book that I was talking to you about by Jean. I can't remember the name because I left it over there. Jean Bouillard, whatever. An image tells a narrative.
Most people wouldn't share that image, though.
No. But what does that mean? That's what I find really interesting.
Yeah. What are we worried about?
Yeah. Thought-provoking podcast today. And a lot of rambles.
Either that or, there's like a chorus of...
Do you think? Do you think people fall asleep? Yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be at least 3 podcasts. Maybe it's at least 2. It might not be 3. And then,
it is at least
our 6 listeners. You're falling asleep now.
No, I'm falling asleep. Yeah.
Our 6 listeners may have all switched off by this point. Algorithms. We've not even talked about algorithms. The algorithm in our podcast is getting there, but this is only episode 10. We've only got 10 episodes out. It's going to take a while to build
Down with the algorithm.
Momentum. Down with the algorithm. Oh.
Yeah, who wrote these things?
Oh. And then how much do them writing it affect the story that is being told?
I want to see it.
Do you know how many, when I open up my Instagram, I obviously follow a lot of Instagram people because I love photography, and Instagram used to be a platform for photography.
Mm-hmm.
So I have astrophotography. I've got people who take lovely black and white pictures, animals. When I open up my Instagram, do you know how many pictures are just boobs?
Oh, God. Seriously?
Probably because I clicked on one once as I was scrolling through some feeds.
And now
It's all, and that's the way, and that is the narrative that I'm being sold on social media.
boobs.
Boobs.
Well, I'm being sold at ASMR videos. I can't think of anything I would like want to watch less than that.
Algorithm. Probably because I was researching about the woman that slept with 1,000 men. That's probably.
Oh, it was research.
I didn't say I was watching the woman that slept with 1,000 men.
Oh dear. Would you like a shovel?
No. No. Like a ladder. I think the shovel is. I think that's the moment the shovel is passed. But no. But it is. It is. Do you know? I was researching it, and I think that has. But I think that has affected. I was intrigued.
It's not.
I was like, I was intrigued as to how you get to that point, you know, and you know, and because I'm obviously really interested in the narrative of social media.
Oh, wasn't sure what you were going to say there.
Jesus Christ, you're portraying me in a very different light here.
I'm just winding you up.
But it is, but it, you know, it's the narrative you're being sold.
Just, and it's not a very clever algorithm, really. You know, like so that you click on that one thing, and then it decides to what's the word? Populate.
Populate.
It's
Oh,
not
perpetuate, but populate.
Populate your feed with everything else that's like that. You know, like so for me, you know, I want my feed full of paddling or nature or, you know, nice photos or bikes or whatever. But if I click on one cookery video, that's it.
Yeah.
You know?
So if I go through my feed just now,
you. I don't think I want to see this.
I'm on, let's go to my East Lothian kayak photo feed because that's the one that's public. So ELKF Photos, my Instagram, and you can see my lovely astrophotography attempt that was a disaster, but that was fine. I've got my friend Erica, who's just got engaged. Congratulations, Erica. I don't think you listen to the podcast, but if you are one of the 6 people that listen to this podcast, congratulations. And then I've got a picture from my sister. I've got some pictures from some friends. You know, that's all fine. You know, that's all the people I follow. And then here we are. How many are we down here? Hang on, let's go. So there's Erica. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these are all, you know, people that I follow. Here we are, 8 suggested reels. And in the first 2, Nicola, I'll show you. And then I keep going.
Okay.
Oh wow.
What kind of a wow is this?
Nicola, it's kayaking. You'll be pleased.
Oh. Wow.
Watch this. Start there.
Oh, it's the whale.
The whale.
Have you not seen that?
No, a man swallowed by a whale.
I think was it Chile?
Off the Chilean coast.
Yeah, humpback.
Humpback swallowed him.
Smacked on him. It was shared last night on the 4th whale and dolphin spotting group, and everyone's come out of course, the new thing now is to say that everything's AI. But
they're in an inflatable.
It's spat it out though.
Does he have a PFD on? He does, and a dry suit.
I'm amazed the boat didn't pop.
They don't have teeth though.
I know they don't have teeth, but I thought just the pressure of the mouth closing would maybe burst the boat.
Maybe just touched it and bounced off. I don't know. Like, it depends. I
mean, what are the chances? It's a very, very, very big ocean, isn't it? Like, or all the oceans are very, very big. What is the chance that where you
did get him as well, didn't it? It went
did
right
get
in.
Him. Where you are on that water body, a whale
Trying to work out where he's spitting him out.
comes up
See?
and eats you. Doesn't eat you.
Now, this is the sort of thing I like in my feed. There you go.
So if you click that,
I've
then you
liked
should
it.
get more whales eating kayaker videos. Apparently, it was the father watching his son.
Yeah. Or I'm not sure which way around it is. You know,
These
are all people. These are all people that I. Oh yeah, look, it's right here we are. Suggested reels.
Oh no! What is I'm absolutely not getting Instagram.
You know, and I think
click on them and hide or block or unfollow.
I mean, I could, but
no, but like to get them out of your feed.
I mean, I can. Yes, I probably can. I obviously have clicked. I've obviously clicked on. Well, the thing is though, I'll have clicked on someone's post that I was interested in, and they probably didn't have booby wiggling pictures in the post. They might have done, but it's unlikely. But now it's perpetuated, and that's. But because I don't really use Instagram very often, you know, I just think it's interesting. Oh, happy birthday to my 18th birthday to my half brother. Oh, I see.
Happy birthday, Alex's.
That was a little while ago, but you know, it's all. I just think it's interesting. And I know, you know, I know why a lot of that's there. A lot of that's there is from me reading about on social media about the woman, the aforementioned adult entertainment star. You know, I think
that's
that
a whole different
how it
conversation.
perpetuates. It is a different conversation. It's not one for today. We probably should stop there because I think we have gone on maybe a little bit too far.
Surely not.
In our social media chat. Oh.
Anything else you want to add?
I normally ask you that question. I mean, there's loads I want to add.
Yeah, you normally ask me. I got in there first.
I think we're there. I think we've got a good podcast. It will need a little bit of tweaking and editing. I might take out some bits, but I think on the whole, I think we really have covered, you know, social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I think there's loads that I haven't
the bad,
said.
and the booby. Sorry, I couldn't resist it. It just presented itself.
Well, and actually, that's one other reason why it's really nice to have a women's kayaking group, because how many times did people say in response to a woman sharing a selfie of herself kayaking to be told, you're already, like, yeah, you've already got your PFDs.
There you go. We've not even had that conversation.
No.
We could have had that conversation. We chose not to. But it's true. But you know, and social media is a maybe the way to sum up this is social media often demonstrates the narrative that we want to project, but also shows the true reflection in culture of humanity.
Yeah. Would we miss it?
Would we miss it?
Would our paddling lives change if we didn't have social media?
Let's return to that question in the next episode.
Okay.
Thank you very much for watching this. I don't know how many episodes this is going to be, but I'm going to put the same exit into all of them. So thank you for watching these episodes on social media. We've had a really in-depth conversation and we've gone down lots of different rabbit holes.
We have. Tangents
left, right, and center. Let's hope it makes sense when we put it out there. I think we'll just put it out as it is. I don't think I'm going to do very little editing to it. I think let's just chuck it out because I think it's a fair reflection on. We talk about controlling the narrative. It's a fair reflection on our conversation. So let's put it all in. And thank you very much for watching and listening to these episodes, because this is definitely more than one. Please comment, like, follow. We would like you to comment because we would like to know what you would want to hear, but we also would like to hear your opinion on the narrative of social media. Yeah. We are interested to hear what other people think. And that's why I think it's very funny. When you said in an episode a few weeks ago, only nice comments. We don't want only nice comments. We want all the comments because we can learn from them. But that may be the topic of the next episode. Yeah, that was not, I didn't really fully mean it. No, I know you didn't. No. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, thanks. Bye.